Hi everyone, I'm Mark Forrest with the EAA Workshops, and we have another hint that deals with composite aircraft construction. Many times you'll use a thickened resin that's been thickened with some filler, be it microspheres, cotton flocks, or something like that. And a lot of times you're building a fillet perhaps with resin and microsphere mixture. If we look at this T-joint example here, this would be a good example of that, where we've created a small fillet or radius so that the glass can flow very easily, transition from the vertical to the horizontal surface. And that fillet is made of resin microsphere mixture. A couple different ways to apply the resin microsphere mixture that we'll talk about today. First of all, I've got some resin microsphere mixture mixed up on the side here. Get your appropriate safety gear on. Make sure you're mechanically protected from the resin. You're wearing safety glasses or goggles, and you're good to go. So, a couple different ways to do that. We have resin microsphere mixture mixed up here. It's a thickened, essentially you make it a putty type thickness. And then you can apply it very easily with a tongue depressor to get the radius that you need. Scrape off the excess, that sort of thing. That's one way to do that. However, that's very time consuming. A lot of work involved using a tongue depressor and manually applying it. So let's discuss some different ways that you can kind of automate or speed up or get to a production level of applying resin microsphere mixture. One simple way is to take just a little Ziploc bag like this. So we take a Ziploc bag and we install some resin microsphere mixture. You could actually fill up the bag if you wanted to. Snip off the end and essentially make kind of like a cake decorating bag where you squeeze the resin microsphere mixture to that corner, and then you could use it as kind of like a pastry decorating bag. That allows you, as you can see, very quickly lay a bead of resin microsphere mixture on the joint or the area where you want to create some sort of fillet. Very easy to do, as you can see, very inexpensive. That's one great way to do it. Another great way, a tip that was given to us by Zeke Smith, you might recognize the name, he's written a number of different books on composite aircraft construction, is to create what he calls a production bead layer. And let's talk about what that is, and that's this device right here. Very simple home-built device that is made of a PVC pipe, a bit of 1/4-inch tubing. Looks like probably nylon tubing. It's a little bit stiffer than typical polypropylene or something like that. We make some plugs. The other item that we'll need for this is a standard household caulking gun. So let's talk about how we construct this. First of all, you take a piece of PVC pipe that's an appropriate diameter to fit into the caulking gun. I'm guessing about 1.25 inch ID, maybe not much more than that. So you can see how that fits. Some caulking guns are actually larger, and you could use a larger diameter PVC pipe potentially. So we have our PVC pipe. We cut it to a length that fits in the caulking gun. I'm saying it's probably about 11 inches or something like that. Each gun might be a little bit different. Measure it before you cut it. When you get the PVC pipe, you'll probably get a length that's 8 or 10 feet long. So obviously you'll have a lot of extra. What you'll do, besides cutting the length of the tube that you'll be using in the caulking gun, you'll cut off little segments, little circles that are approximately 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch in height. And you'll actually use that as molds to create a little plug, the little plug that I am showing here. And what this plug is made of is automotive body putty, sometimes known as Bondo. And you'll take your PVC rings that you've cut off and essentially put the Bondo into those rings. That PVC pipe creates a mold to create that plug shape. One thing that you want to do with the Bondo is a polyester material. Polyester tends to shrink quite a bit. So a fairly large mass of Bondo or polyester body putty will tend to shrink quite a bit and won't fit snugly into your tube. So the trick there is to take Bondo and mix it up with sawdust. sawdust will minimize the shrinking of the Bondo as it's curing. It will shrink a little bit, but not dramatically. Shrink just enough so that we get a nice fit into the PVC pipe, okay? And also, as it's shrinking in those little PVC circle molds, it'll actually shrink so it comes out of those molds very easily. So you'll need a plug, rather two plugs for each piece of PVC pipe. This is the plunger plug, which we put in one end. The other end, we install a plug, and what we'll do is we'll take that plug and drill a 1/4-inch hole that you can install a piece of the tubing, and we'll actually permanently install that plug into the PVC pipe. We'll use super glue, crazy glue, something like that, to stick the plug and mount it into the PVC pipe, and we'll also use the super glue to bond this little plastic tube in place. So now we have a PVC pipe that's sealed off in one end with a tube that's also sealed so it won't come out under pressure. We'll take our PVC pipe and start filling it with resin microsphere mixture. When you're mixing up the resin microsphere mixture, make sure you have it at a thickness that is not going to slump or flow. This is pretty close to that. You really want to get to what we call dry micro, where we don't have a real shiny surface to it. So, resin microsphere mixture into the PVC pipe. You're essentially making a homemade caulking tube. We take our plug and we install it, and then take the whole assembly. So now we have a PVC pipe filled with resin microsphere mixture. One end is essentially a plunger. The other end is the outlet with a directional tube. We'll install it into the caulking gun. And get that ready to go. I'm going to hold it up like this. This will help to allow the air that might be trapped in the PVC pipe to escape. And you can now see the contents being extruded from the end of the tube. And you can use that as a way to accurately lay a bead of resin material wherever you need to be. And you can make a number of these in advance so that you can continue to work through your process and work through the project without having to stop to make PVC pipes. One thing that you do have to keep in mind when using this sort of system is if you do leave a mass of resin microsphere mixture in here, there is a potential for the resin to exotherm. And exotherm is a process where as the resin is curing, it gets warm, starts curing faster, heats up more, and you could potentially have a hazardous condition where a very hot mixture of resin builds up in the PVC pipe. So make sure that you extrude all the resin microsphere mixture from the pipe so you won't have any issues like that. So another great hint. I want to say thanks to Zeke Smith for supplying that to us here at EAA. Thank you.